Now square. I want to really quick. All scholars take calculus. Write this down at the bottom of your paper. I'm re-saying this to people that are here. Write this down at the bottom of your paper on your unit circle. All scholars take calculus. Tangent of theta is sine over cosine, which is y over x. Write that down. And the ordered pairs are in this format: cosine, sine, tangent, alphabetical order. Anything in the first quadrant, you have to go right and up is positive, positive. And if you look at tangent, where it's the y coordinate over the x coordinate, a positive divided by a positive is positive. So everything, that's what all means. All things are positive. Scholar means only the sign is positive. So if you look at this ordered pair, only the sign is positive in the second quadrant. So that's why, and to get to the second quadrant, you have to go left and up. So it's negative, positive. And a positive divided by negative is negative. So cosine is negative, sine is positive, tangent is negative. That's what scholars mean. Scholars means only sine is positive. So in the third quadrant, take means tangent is positive. So the outside one is positive, but the other two are negative. What that means is to get to the third quadrant, you have to go left and down. That's two negatives. Left and down means negative, negative. A negative divided by negative is positive. So again, tangent or take means tangent is positive. That's why that is positive. That is why the other two are negative. And the fourth quadrant, calculus. That means cosine is positive. If you look at your ordered pair over here, cosine means it's positive, negative, negative. But if you're thinking about just plotting an ordered pair, you have to go right, which is positive, and then down, which is negative. Right and down. A negative divided by positive is negative. But again, it says that calculus means cosine is positive. The other two are negative. So you'll notice one more time that everything is positive in the first quadrant. Only the sine is positive here. Only tangent is positive here. And only cosine is positive here. Do you guys remember? You guys understand those signs? So these are some things you need to know before we do the unit circle. So let's go over here. Now time for the unit circle. We're going to try to color code this in 4 different colors. The first things we're going to do is the quadrantal angles. Those are the ones that are right here, 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 and here. So it says in the directions, place degree angle measures in dash blanks. So 0 degrees is right here. Change that right there. See that 0 degrees? Put it there. In radians, that is 0. Put that there. Now, what is this as an ordered pair? You have to know that the unit circle has a radius of 1. So this whole distance right here is 1. So to plot that ordered pair, that point right there, you'd have to go right 1, but you cannot go up or down 0. So this ordered pair is 1, 0. Now the tangent is the y over the x. So 0 divided by 1 is 0. And I want you to write the tangent in there as well. That's CST. Again, up here, make sure you have cosine, sine, tangent. Tangent's on the outside. It's alphabetical order, CST. 1, 0 is this. One thing you need to know about tangent is the same thing as slope. A slope of a horizontal line is 0. So if you're trying to figure out if that's what that tangent is, the slope of a horizontal line is 0, so that's why the tangent is 0. Now we're going to go all the way up here to the perpendicular line right here. This is 90 degrees. Put that in the dashed line. 90 degrees. 90 degrees ordered pair. To plot this point right there, you cannot go left or right, so that's 0. And you go up 1. Again, that's the radius of the unit circle, so it's 0, 1. Now, if you're thinking of tangent, what's 1 divided by 0? Trinity, what's 1 divided by 0? What's anything divided by 0? You can't do it, so you're going to write undefined like that. That's your tangent. Think about tangent and slope. What's the slope of a vertical line? Can you ski down a pole? No. So that's why it's undefined, because that's a vertical line. Tangent and slope are the same thing. So the tangent of 90 is undefined. The slope of a vertical line is undefined. Now we're going to go and do the radians right now. Does anyone know what the radians of 90 is? How to convert? So 90 times pi over 180 is pi over 2. Okay, so it's half a pi. So we're going to put half a pi here, and 90 is done. Radians go in solid line, degrees go in the dashed line. Keep going to the other horizontal line right here. What is that angle, everybody? 180. Put 180. Don't forget your degree. What is that in radians? It's just pi. Pi radians. Anyone know what that ordered pair is? You have to go left 1, so it's -1, but you can't go up or down, so it is 0. And that one's done. What do you guys think so far? Good? Now, the bottom one, the dashed line, so we went 0, 90, 180. What's this one? 270. Like, I don't do conversions on paper all the time for the radians, but if you count by halves, like this is 0 radians right here. This is 1/2 radians. This one right here is really 2/2 radians. So what is this one? 3/2 pi. 3/2 pi. Let me do that again. This is 0 halves, 1/2, 2/2 pi, which is, this is 3/2 pi. It's 1/2. It's 1/2. Isn't 3/2 1/2? 1.5? So there's 1/2. Does that make sense? So now the order pair for that one, to plot this order pair right here, you cannot go left or right. So this is 0. It's going to be the same as the 90. See how 90 was 0, 1? This one's 0, -1, because he went down 1. The tangent of this is undefined because -1 divided by 0 is undefined, just like 1 divided by 0 is undefined. And remember, this is a vertical line. Slope and tangent are the same thing. Slope of a vertical line is undefined. Tangent of this line is undefined.
What's the tangent of 180?
Oh, I didn't do the tangent of 180. Let's go back to this one. The tangent of this one is the same as the tangent of 0. 0/1 is 0, and 0/-1 is 0. So I'm going to squeeze that in right here. That's the tangent. So we got 4 of our 16 done. Sound good? Mm-hmm. Now we're going to go change the color. If you have a color, I'm going to do mine in green. We're going to go 30. 30 degrees. Everything in green. If you have a green, change to green. All right, so I'm going to draw this line in green. Right there. And I'm going to write 30 degrees. 30 degrees. Does anyone know what that is in radians? If not, I'm going to do it right here. 30 degrees times pi/180. Basically, it's saying, how many times is 30 going to 180? How many times is 3 going to 18? 6. Okay, so 30 degrees is pi/6. So we're going to fill that in right here. pi/6. Now the ordered pair for 30, without doing anything fancy right now, we did it yesterday in the notes, is square root of 3/2, 1/2, and if you did 1/2 divided by this, you would get radical 3/3. I will show this. What we did yesterday was this. If you draw a triangle and it's 30 degrees, if you draw a triangle and it's 30 degrees, the short side is 1, the hypotenuse is double that, and the long leg is radical 3. That was from yesterday's notes. Oops, can't see that. So if I said, what is the sine of 30? You would say opposite, which is 1, over hypotenuse. If I said, what is the cosine of 30? You would say adjacent, radical 3/2. And if I said, what is the tangent of 30? You would say opposite over adjacent, and then you'd have to rationalize, which is square root of 3/3. These are all things we did yesterday, and that's where we got this ordered pair right here. Cosine, sine, tangent. You do not have to do this work every time, though. You just have to memorize that ordered pair. Now, we're going to stay with all the greens. Can someone tell me, let's go over this side, what is 180 minus 30? Because this line right here is also a 30.
150.
It's 150. This is 30 away from this x-axis. So this has a 30-degree reference angle too. This is 30 away from the x-axis. This is 30 away from the x-axis. So 180 minus 30 is 150. 150 and 30 will have the same ordered pair. So I'm going to follow this green line, and in this order pair right here, we're going to write radical 3 over 2, 1/2 radical 3 over 3, cosine, sine, tangent. But we have to remember our little thing I told you at the beginning about all scholars take calculus. So in this quadrant, scholars S means sine is positive. Or you can look at this. The order of your order pairs is negative, positive, negative. Negative, positive, negative. So let's do that right now. This is negative, positive, negative. Only the sign is positive there. We're going to go ahead and do the radians for this also. This is 150 degrees. But I'm going to show you how I do it. Anything that's green will have a 6 in the denominator. So I'm going to start by putting a 6 in the denominator. And I'm going to put a pi in the top. It's something with pi over 6. It's basically how many 30s. How many 30s does it take to get to 150? What's 150 divided by 30? It is 5. It's how many 30s are in 150. So 150 divided by 30 is 5. That's one way to do it. Here's another way to do it. You can think of everything that goes every 30 degrees in terms of 6. So this 0, you can think of 0, 6. This is 1, 6. This one right here is actually 2, 6, but it can be reduced. 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 6, 6, which is pi. So what would this one be in terms of 6? If that was 5, 6, and this is 6, 6, what's this one? 7, 6. But I'll wait. What's 180 plus 30? So this is our third green line. It's 30 degrees away from the x-axis. That is 210. In terms of 6 again, this pi, you have to think of pi as 6 over 6. Think of pi as 6 over 6. So one less than that is 5, 6. One more than 6, 6 is 7, 6. The ordered pair for that is the exact same as 30. See in the green over here? Write it again. Radical 3 over 2, 1/2 radical 3 over 3. For negative purposes, you have to know that tangent is positive here, which the ordered pair of that looks like negative, negative, positive. So it's negative, negative, tangent's positive. And that one's done. Am I going too fast? Okay, the fourth 30 is 30 degrees from the next x-axis, but in the fourth quadrant. So what's 3? Oh, you know what? I never did my fourth one. Can we go? All right, I'll just wait. What's 360 minus 30? 360, this is 360, minus 30. 330. The one that we didn't do, I'm going to change back to black. That 0 is also 360. Can we go ahead and fill in 360? I forgot to do that at the beginning. 0 and 360 are on the same line. 0 and 360 have the same order pair. 1, 0, 0. What is 360 in radians? 2 pi. Write that in there. Now, in terms of 6, this pi was 6 over 6. In terms of this one, 2 is the same thing as 12 over 6. 12 over 6 is 2. So what's 1 less than 12 over 6? 11, 6. But one more time, I'm going to make this green. I'm going to fill in the order pair, but I'm going to tell you how I can get 11, 6 another way. Fill in the order pair. And then let's look at this time. It's calculus that's positive. So that is positive, negative, negative. Positive, negative, negative. So the sine is negative and the tangent is negative. Now let's think about 6 one more time. 6 is a 30-degree angle. So if you count by 30s, this is, everyone count. This is 0, 6. This is 1, 6. This is actually 2, 6. So that's 60. This is 3, 6. 4, 6. 5, 6, 6, 6. This is 7, 6. This 60 right here is 8, 6. This one is 9, 6. 10, 6, 11, 6. 12, 6. Another way that you can get 11, 6 if you don't like how I did it is to take 330 quickly on your calculator, punch this in your calculator, punch in 330 divided by 180, and then press math, enter, enter. And you will get 11, 6. Okay, or you can take the zeros out. 3 goes into 33 11 times. 3 goes into 18 6 times. That's an easy way too. 11 pi over 6. All kinds of ways to get those. And we got 8 of them done. We're halfway there. Now we're ready for the 45s. I'm changing this to red. Changing this to red. All right, the first one, the 45s are right in the middle, guys. They're right in the middle of each quadrant. So if you want the middle line in each quadrant, make red. And I'm going to put 45 degrees on the dashed line, and I'm going to stop. Now, what is 45 degrees in radians? Here's the work for it. On your calculator, punch in 45 divided by 180, and then press math, enter, enter. What'd you get, William? Pi over 4. That's what 45 is. Basically, it's a fourth of 180. So we're going to put pi over 4. So anything that has to do with 45 will have a 4 in the denominator for radians. The order pair that goes with this is radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2, and anything divided by itself is 1. It's the easiest tangent to remember. It's the easiest tangent to remember. If you think about slope and tangent, guys, see this red line right here? What do you think the slope of that line is? What's the slope of in a quadrant right down the middle? 1. So that's why the tangent's 1. All right, let's go to the second quadrant. Can someone tell me what 180, use your calculators, what's 180 minus 45? 135, put that in the second dashed line here. Let's go ahead, I'll do the radians in a second. Let's go ahead and fill our order pair in. Radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2, 1. Let's know that if we just follow the green one, you guys see the green one right here? It's negative, positive, negative. Just make sure the sign is positive. And now for the radians. We're going to count in fourths. This is 0 fourths. This is 1/4. This 90 is 2 fourths. 135 is 3 fourths. So we're going to go 3 fourths pi. Again, 135. If you want to do this on your calculator, punch this in your calculator. 135 over 80. It's basically how many 45s do you have in 180? There are 3 45s in 135. All right, and then we're going to keep going. This one down here, if you count, this is 4 fourths. This one right here is going to be 5 fourths. Anything that has a 4 is in radians. 180 plus 45 is 225. Put that in there. And this is radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2, and 1, negative, negative. 360 minus 45 is 315, right? 315. In terms of force, 0 fourths, 1/4, 2 fourths, 3 fourths, 4 fourths, 5 fourths. This is 6 fourths. This is 7 fourths. Do your conversion on paper, or know that if this is 7 fourths, that means the next one is 8 fourths. That makes sense. It is radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2, and 1. If you follow the order pair in green right above it, the first one's positive and the other 2 are negative. And the last one I'm doing really quick in blue is the 60. Fill in 60 and make this line blue. 60 times pi over 180 if you're converting. 60 goes in that 3 times. 60 is pi over 3. It's thirds. Anything that has a 3 in it has to do with the 60. The order pair for this is the switch of the 30. If 30 is radical 3 over 2, 1/2. 60 is 1/2 radical 3 over 2. And the tangent of this is just 1 radical 3, where 30 is radical 3 over 3. 60 is just radical 3. The easiest way for me to remember that is that 30 starts with the 3 and has the extra 3 in the tangent. That's what I say to myself. So what's 180 minus 60? 120. If you're counting by thirds, this is 1/3. How many 60s are in 120? What's 120 divided by 60? That's their top number of your radians. It's 2 pi over 3. All 60s have a 3 in the bottom. So 120 is actually, if you just took 120 divided by 60, you would get 2. That goes in the top. 2 pi over 3. 2 pi over 3. The ordered pair is 1/2, radical 3 over 2, and radical 3. If you look at the red ordered pair, it's negative in the first one and negative in the tangent, but the sign is positive. What's 180 plus 60? 180 plus 60 is 240. It's the same ordered pair, but the first two are negative. And in radians, what's 240 divided by 60? It is 4, so that goes in the top. It's 4 pi over 3. And the last one, 360 minus 60 is 300. What's 300 divided by 60? It is 5. That goes in the top. 5 pi over 3. Same ordered pair. But in this one, it's the last two that are negative. And that is your unit circle.